EZDent I, Chapter 5, Report tab, the Toolbar. Our objectives will be to navigate the Reports toolbar, to create a new report, add and remove a page, print report, change viewing options, print settings, DICOM printing if available, email, and export to PDF format. We'll start again from the EZDent I Report tab and identify the icons listed along the top of the screen. Starting with the first icon, which is to create a new report. You'll be prompted to identify losing the previous report if it's not saved, so in this case here we'll go ahead and start a new report. In the top image frame box, we can then left click and drag our image into place, resize it to fit the size of our image proportionately, and then put a note in our text box down below that as it relates to our image itself. Once we have our text, we can then format our text box itself as well. And if we wish to add a second page, left click on the icon in the upper left hand side that says Add Page. From here we now have a second page which is identical in format to the previous page as far as the template is concerned. So if we wish to, we can choose a different template from our predefined templates, in this case here intraoral sensors, and replace our second page with our new modified template. We can then format this template based on the images that we're going to include, and then left click on the boxes that we want to remove and click on Delete on the keyboard. From there we can then format these images here and move them into position here at the top of our report. Once we've gone ahead and positioned all of our images and image frame boxes at the top of our report, we can then pick and choose by left clicking and grabbing the image and putting it into the appropriate frame box. Once we've identified our images then for the maxillary arch, we can then scroll over and do the same thing then for the mandibular arch. Left clicking and dropping them in place, and then once we're finished, from there we can then add a new text box as well. We can then left click to change the format and size of our text box, move it into position to perhaps align with our images above, and then left click in the box and then type in our note as it relates to the images in the image frames themselves. Once we have all of the text indicated in there for both the second page as well as for our first page, we've now completed our report, and from this point here we can then go ahead and print out our report itself. Now that we've completed our report, we now have two pages. Our second page with our intraoral images, our first page with our panorama image, and then we can click on the print icon in the toolbar at the top of the screen. And once we've printed the report, if we decide to change it and decide that we don't want the second page, we can left click on the delete page icon and then left click to select OK, and now we're back down to one page again. And then we can go ahead and print that report as a one-page document. We also have viewing options available as indicated in the toolbar at the top of the screen, such as fitting horizontally to fit across the screen and then scroll up and down to get to the top and bottom of our page, fit it vertically between the top and bottom border of our page, and we also have a zooming icon. We can left click and slide across the screen to change the size of our report area. We also have the ability where we can adjust the printing settings. By clicking on the icon, we can then change the paper size, which is defaulted to letter, and change it to a different size paper. We can also change the orientation between portrait, which is the default, to landscape, and then clicking on the print icon there again to change it back to our portrait mode. And then in the next section we have the ability to adjust the image information that's going to be printed out. In this case here, printing out the image information on top of the image itself. We can print out the image information below the image, or by default print out without any image information at all. We also have the ability to adjust our header, identifying where we want to have our date displayed, or if we want the date displayed. Putting a check mark activates it, puts the date back in there again. We can also decide if we want to have the logo print out with our report by removing the check mark. By going back to print settings, we can go ahead and put the check mark back in there again. And if we want to hide the patient information, we can do that as well. Putting check mark will then print out our patient information with our report. In the bottom section, we have the ability to put in our footer, such as the clinic information, name, address, and website address if available, and print that along with the report itself. All of these can be changed as well to customize based on your own personal preferences, such as moving the patient information to the bottom of the screen, moving the logo to the center of the screen, reformatting the size of the logo and repositioning, as well as moving the image down, as well as the text box along with that image. We can then take the image information as far as the office, address, name, clinic, and so forth, put that underneath the logo, and then perhaps put the date of our report below the image itself. Once we customize all this here, we can save it this way here, and then also have the ability to print it out along with our report. Once we've done that, we also have the ability where we can send this as an email. By clicking on the email icon, we can then specify the recipient in our to box. If there is a carbon copy we want to send, we can include that as well. We can then tab down to the subject line, specify the subject, in this case here, the name of our patient. And in the box below that with our attachments, we can include the PDF report as well as the original image included with that report. We also then have the ability to choose our font size and font style. Bold, italics, underline, alignment, and so on, similar to that of Microsoft Word and Microsoft Outlook. We can then put in the text of our email like we would normally by putting in our salutation, putting the body of our text, and once we're finished, we can then go ahead and click on the send button at the bottom of the screen to send our email to the recipient, including the attachments as shown above. The last option we have here is the ability to generate a PDF report. Clicking on the PDF icon in the toolbar will then open up a dialog box to identify where we want to save our electronic report to, specify the folder type if not already defaulted, specify your file name, and then select on Save. We also have the ability where we can right-click on the report itself for various options as well, such as showing the image information under the image. We can also show the image information on top of the image, and we can right-click and then hide the information as well. We can right-click and go down to real size. We can also right-click and go down to a print size. Also being able to group our images if applicable, how they're laid out on the screen, and we can group them or ungroup them as needed. You can go down and also turn on a grid, which is used for lining up images and text boxes. You can right-click to turn the grid off as well. Now, as far as being able to set up your clinic information, such as the office address and phone number, as well as the clinic logo and patient information, all those settings are done underneath the EZDent icon itself by left-clicking and going down to Settings. From there, navigate over to the clinic information under the Environment tab, and here you can then populate it with the clinic name, website address, phone number, fax number, street address, city, state, country, and postal code. And then lastly, if you want to add a logo, you can left click on the icon there, which will then open up your computer to browse for the folder that contains the logo that you wish to add. Simply double click on the logo itself, click on OK in order to be able to save those settings under the EZDent iSoftware itself. In summary, you should now be able to navigate to the Reports tab toolbar to create a new report, add and remove a page, print a page, change viewing options, print settings, DICOM printing if available, emailing, as well as export to PDF format.